We started, it was assembly,
Yes,
which
we all-
was for that first term.
We were in the
Because
corridor,
hall
weren't
wasn't
we?
finished, we were in the concourse.
So you had your
And that
assemblies in there
standing,
first thing in the
just
morning?
standing in the concourse for
okay.
that. Yeah.
Every day?
And that was every day. For
I think
assembly.
it was one of the things that I found quite strange to start off with was the fact that you moved from different areas for different subjects. And most of us, I think, when we've been in our other schools, we
Schools,
stayed in the classroom for the whole, your whole of your school day, whereas you were going to the art department or you were going to the science or wherever. So you were moving around the school.
So I noticed that the lunch break is actually quite long. So at the moment, the children only have half an hour for their lunch.
Right.
But back when the school opened, it says you had lunch from 12:15 till 2 o'clock. So that is a lengthy time. So when you were on site, once you'd finished eating, where did you sort of hang out in the playground?
Yes,
How
in
did
the playground.
so similar to today, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not certain what
It's a
we did
long
when it
time in the
rained.
playground, and
Yeah,
I
I
don't
can't remember.
recall them being that long.
Oh, well, that means they were you having a good time, I guess.
Well, if we stopped at 12:15, there was possibly on some occasions there might have been two sessions of dinners
That's
or
that's
lunches.
true,
So
yes.
Well, later on.
Yes, because
yes,
it was
possibly.
quite small.
Yes,
the
it
dining
was,
room was
yes.
quite small.
Yes.
Okay. So, so it does say here that 161 dinners were served on the first day in 2 sittings. So that makes sense.
Yes.
And 170 bottles of milk were taken. Is that something you had at break time, or did you have that at lunch? Do you remember?
I think
Obviously, it's a long time
milk
ago.
was about, we used to get those small bottles of milk
yes.
in the morning. It's sort of about 10, 11 o'clock.
o'clock,
So,
yes.
yes, something like that.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
in a
yes.
crate, and they always used to smell pretty awful. They tasted all right, but
Yeah.
When you started school, I'm guessing that there was a different selection of subjects to what we offer
Yes.
today. Do you remember the sort of subjects that you
Very
did?
traditional.
Yes.
History, geography, English language, English literature, maths, chemistry. Physics I don't recall, but there was some physics with quite a charismatic teacher, old man, but very, very good.
if I remember rightly, girls were not taking chemistry or physics.
Weren't we doing...
We were doing needlework and cookery.
That's it. Yeah,
So
we
you were
didn't.
basically being set up to be homemakers.
yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
With it, yes.
Did you do PE?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes.
With, yeah.
The
Badly.
dreaded parallel bars.
And the gym was complete on that first term,
Yes.
so
Okay.
it was amazing to go in
Yes, that was really
somewhere.
good,
and
yes.
Tell me about the headmaster. I don't know how much you would have got to know him and speak to him. How
Very
did-
well.
Yeah.
Because he was such a charismatic man, wasn't he? He
Yes,
seemed-
very strong personality.
Yes. He was always around the school.
He was a naval officer of some sort, wasn't he?
Yes.
And he selected what I thought was, and still think, was an extraordinary group of teachers around
Yeah,
him.
I agree.
So who was your favourite teacher and what subjects were they teaching at the time?
Oh gosh.
What about Mr. Hodgkiss?
No.
I liked him.
Oh,
he was the maths.
he was the maths man.
maths
He was
teacher.
good. He was excellent.
He was very good.
He called me Gladys.
Yes.
And that
right.
stuck. And many years later, when I was living in Singapore, I was in the car with my husband. We were driving in the centre of Singapore, and there were 2 or 3 naval personnel off one of the ships. And as we drove past, this voice shouted, "Crikey, there's Gladys in that car!" And it was somebody from Morven. And we drove round and we
Was
met
that
him.
Kenny
That was
Horrell?
Kenny Horrell.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I never really forgot gave Mr. Hodgkiss for this Gladys.
Mr. Hodgkiss used
He
to...
was a good footballer.
I believe so, yes.
Yes,
he
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 was.
used to tell us you've got to be quiet when he was talking, and if you didn't be quiet, he'd eventually used to fling the blackboard rubber across the...
Was he a good shot?
Yes. Yes, he
Yeah.
was. Who else was there? I quite like Mr. Waddington, who was
Oh,
music.
yes.
Waddington was
music.
very good.
I spent he was very
Mr.
good.
Wallace, the
And Mr.
English
Wa-
teacher.
Yes,
he-
Mr. Wallace was one of my heroes. He
Is
was
it majority men?
no,
No.
Miss Overbury was
Miss
lovely.
Overbury.
She was
Yeah.
geography, wasn't she? She was
yes,
lovely.
She
yes.
was lovely.
Who else? Mrs. Pratley, who
Mrs.
was
Pratley,
cookery.
Miss Meddings.
Yes.
Miss Ascombe was the PE teacher.
Oh, yeah. Who was-
she was great,
she was great,
wasn't
yes,
she? Yeah.
What did you wear in terms of uniform
Oh,
at the
yes,
beginning?
very nice. Grey skirt,
Yeah, and a white shirt.
white shirt,
And a navy tie.
the tie, navy with yellow stripes.
Yellow and
So
white
similar
stripes.
to the ties
Yeah,
we
I
have
think so.
today.
And a
And the
navy
blazer.
blazer with
the
the
badge
school
on.
badge on.
And then in the summer it was a sort of
Oh, yes.
buttercup yellow gingham
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
with mine had a white. There was no restriction on the design. I mean, no one sort of went over the top, but you could have a white collar or you could have a plain collar, and you could have it buttoned through or just buttoned to the waist.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not certain about the boys.
I don't recall wearing it, but I was only here for a year.
You didn't wear the dress.
Okay.
No.
Didn't wear the
No.
dress. But do you remember whether it was shorts or trousers?
Yeah,
Trousers.
It was trousers, and everybody was in trousers.
Yeah, I think once you got to senior school, it was long trousers, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But the girls wouldn't have been able to wear
No.
trousers.
Oh, never.
Goodness
No.
me, no, gosh, no.
How many people would you have had in your the tutor groups at the beginning?
25,
But
30.
it, yes,
Yeah, about 25 to
yes.
30.
So that's not changed either. So
No.
it's a classroom full of,
Yes.
of
And
pupils,
your tutor might be someone that you didn't see for
yeah, for your lessons.
For your lessons,
yes. Yeah.
But, no, that was quite interesting because you were meeting up with people that you didn't know, and I think that was one of the
Yes.
interesting things. We
Yeah.
suddenly were meeting people from the country areas and from different schools
Yes.
that we hadn't mixed with.
So when you come onto the school site today, what did you have a tour when you came?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So when you come onto the site today, what are the big changes that you note immediately when you arrive?
Much bigger.
The library, I am quite envious of the facilities you've got here. I think they're amazing. There seem to be more children.
Yes.
I don't think there are, but there just
What
seem
are
to
the
be more.
1400 now?
I knew somebody was going to ask me that. About that.
Yeah.
But tell me about your houses back in when we started.
I was
Lechmere,
there was Lechmere,
Ligon.
Foley,
Ligon.
Ligon,
Foley.
and
Foley, Ligon, Lechmere, Summers.
Summers was there.
And what was the relevance
colours.
of those names?
Well, they were
Local
they were
royalty.
Yes. Yeah. Summers were green, Lechmere red, Foley blue,
Yes.
Ligon yellow.
Ligon
And did you
yellow.
have anything that told you apart? Didn't have different
We-
ties
yeah,
or things like that?
we
Or a
had
badge?
a button badge.
Oh, you
Yes.
had a button badge.
Yes.
It was a tiny
Does
button.
anybody have a button badge left? Do you still have one?
Gosh, I think I
I
threw
don't
mine
know.
away because it got.
Would have been a great thing to get.
Well,
hold of.
they
No.
were sort of like almost like plastic covered, and I think they gradually
Yes.
peeled back.
Well, they were like a bottle top, really.
Yes,
weren't
they were, yeah.
So, what was
The,
different?
the prefects used to have the coloured badges.
Yes,
didn't
and
they?
then as
So
head
it-
girl, I had a shield with head
Yes,
girl
that's
on.
it.
Of course you did.
Yeah. The prefects all had a shield with,
With the colour.
prefect
And
and,
the
their
colour.
colour. It was the colouring. Yeah.
So, what did the houses mean when you were at school? What were they used for? And why
used
did they
rivalry.
They used to have points system,
It was a
didn't
rivalry,
they? And
yes.
with Lechmere was usually top.
They had.
I remember.
Was it really? That's not how I recall it.
Foley being in at the we had a notice, a sort of rather like a hymn board
Yes.
in the hall, and they would have who was top of the. It would have
Yes.
who got the
Oh,
most
that was
points.
it. Yeah.
So, how did you win points for your house?
I can't remember.
Well, I think all sorts of things. If you did very well at sports, or if there was something particular that happened.
Yeah, because I seem to remember Foley seemed to get the football one most of the time.
Yes.
So,
They probably had Kenny Horrell.
Probably
yes,
had Kenny Horrell.
yes, they probably did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get points taken away, or did you get points for behaviour? Because we've
Yes, I
talked
think-
about this book,
I
but this
think
book
so,
shows.
yes.
This book is amazing. It shows all the things we don't do these days, which is the punishment. And
Oh, go on, tell us what they are.
wow, it's interesting. So
I don't think. I hope our names aren't in there.
do you know, I should have had a quick look
Just
through,
check.
shouldn't I?
You checked, did you? Good.
So there's a lot of different names in here. I was looking at this with a student yesterday, and I was like, the maximum number of strokes was 4. So if you got 4, I think you've been very, very bad or naughty.
Was
I
that
should
the
say.
cane?
So that
Yeah.
would be
Oh.
strokes of.
Oh.
So yes, the book records strokes of the cane.
Goodness.
Do you remember?
I bet
Was
Jeffrey
behaviour
Moore in there.
was behaviour good?
Yes.
Yes,
On the whole, I
so.
think it
There
was.
were about half a dozen bad uns.
They would be sitting outside the headmaster's office. wouldn't
Yeah.
They would, yes, or, and I remember this in particular, there were 2 who were particularly disruptive, and one of them was, well, both of them really were bullies. And I can't remember which teacher it was, but it was either Storer or who was the Mr. Rousel.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And they used to have the really difficult pupils, and they made them box each other. Yes.
Yeah.
Now that's medieval, isn't it?
I thought the cane was bad enough.
I don't think
Was
you'll
that
find.
like in front of a lot of people?
I don't recall.
No,
I
no, I
didn't
don't think-
see it,
no, I don't
but
think it was.
it probably just the teacher involved.
That would be
Yeah.
Mr.
But he-
Storer, I think.
Yeah. Well,
It's a
I
sort of
wouldn't
thing.
be surprised.
Let's end with. It's going to be really difficult to think of your favourite or your best memory, but I wonder if we could take it in possibly like a message to our students.
don't waste your time at this school.
We'll just leave it there then.
I think to appreciate what is available, and also the chance to make friends, which will continue through your life if you're very lucky. The facilities are here. If you don't use them, then it's very sad, isn't it?
This is the best opportunity that you've got in your lifetime, I think, to advance your or to advance to your future. And if you waste it, as many people do, you will regret it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, excellent.